Nothing collapses overnight. Not Rome, not Spain, not Britain, and not the United States. The fall of an empire begins in silence, in tiny fractures so small that ordinary people mistake them for dust. But historians have a different eye. They see the pattern forming long before the world realizes what's happening. And if you look closely, the United States is walking the same path as the giants that came before it, step by step, decision by decision. The troubling part? Every warning sign that marked the downfall of past empires is not only visible today, it's accelerating. Rising debt, shrinking trust, political division, military overreach, currency decline. These aren't theories. They're the same markers carved into the ruins of every fallen empire scattered across human history. Before collapse comes denial. Before collapse comes pride. Before collapse comes the belief that this time is different. But history disagrees. And the echoes of Rome, Spain, and Britain are louder than ever. In this video, we break down the pattern, where America stands inside it, and how close we truly are to the point where decline turns into freefall. The beginning of an empire's fall is never loud. It never announces itself. It doesn't come with explosions or invasions or dramatic turning points. It comes with small changes, subtle distortions in the economy, cracks in public trust, shifts in global power. People living inside the empire almost never notice it. They call it temporary. They call it politics. They call it a phase. But when historians look back, they always see the same thing, the pattern. The same sequence repeating across centuries, across continents, across different cultures and governments. And today, that pattern is unfolding inside the United States with an intensity the world has not seen in generations. Every empire begins with strength, not just military strength, but financial strength. A currency trusted by the world, a system that other nations depend on. For Rome, it was silver. For Spain, it was silver too, extracted from the New World. For Britain, it was gold-backed pounds. For the United States, it is the dollar, the backbone of global trade for nearly a century. But currency supremacy is not immortality. It is a responsibility. And when an empire abuses that responsibility, the consequences are always the same. America's modern era of dominance began after World War II. The war destroyed Europe and crippled Asia. The U.S. became the world's supplier, the world's banker, the world's stabilizer. The dollar became the world's anchor because America had the gold, the industry, the credit, and the trust. But then came the turning point. The moment the U.S. chose the path every empire had walked before. When spending grew faster than wealth. When promises grew bigger than the ability to pay. When the empire began living on debt. Debt is not just numbers on a screen. Debt is a symptom that a nation wants more than it can afford. And America wanted everything. For decades, the solution was the same: borrow more. Spend more. Delay the consequences. But even borrowing has limits. Eventually, the government turned to something far more dangerous, creating money out of nothing. Rome did it by cutting the silver in its coins. Spain did it. Britain did it. And America did it in 1971. Overnight, the dollar became pure fiat. And like every empire before it, the U.S. used that power recklessly. Year after year, the money supply grew. Not slowly, but aggressively. Every crisis became an excuse to print more. Inflation became permanent. Prices rose. Savings shrank. But politicians assured the public that everything was fine. That is stage 4 of the empire collapse pattern, currency debasement. But the next stage is even more dangerous: the loss of confidence. Confidence is fragile, and that belief is fading globally. This is the beginning of de-dollarization. Domestically, the signs are just as clear. Political polarization is now so extreme. Debt ceilings, spending bills, crisis after crisis. Then comes the problem no empire escapes: interest on the debt. This is economic death. The denial continues. The foundation of trust is eroding. The next phase, stage 6, is loss of confidence on a global scale. And then comes the final stage, collapse. The United States faces 3 possible futures: slow decline, rapid collapse, global reset. History is not prophecy, but it is a map. This is not fear. This is mathematics. This is history. Empires do not fall at the moment of collapse. They fall at the moment they believe they cannot collapse. The fall is not guaranteed, But the pattern is already in motion. The question now is simple. How close are we to the moment where decline becomes something irreversible?